that the WBA that's a little different, that they're allowing it to be for a sanctioned title. At the end of the day, the most important part that I'll finish with is, what's his chances? What's Verhoeven's chances? I think slim and none. My feeling is, look, Usyk has earned the right to take a one-off, if you want to call it that. And just like everyone else is taking a shot at doing that, he's earned the right. He's fought everybody. And he has put himself now into that status where he can be called one of the great heavyweights of all time. He's earned that. He's fought everyone. Olympic gold medalist, unified the cruiserweight titles, and then fought everyone heavyweight, beat all the bigger guys. I think the question with this one would be that with the others that we've seen Joshua and Ngannou, Tyson Fury and Ngannou.
Is Usyk a fighter that fights for money, or is he a fighter because he fights? I think he's a fighter because he fights, and I think the sideshow is the money that he gets now, and it's part and parcel of the shtick that goes with him. So the understanding the mentality of the man, he understands the mentality of the man better than anyone else. Is there any decline in Usyk? We just saw Usyk wipe the floor with Daniel Dubois. Wipe the floor with him.
Yeah.
As good as he's ever been, if not better.
Yeah.
There's no decline in him. He's at the pinnacle of his powers. And so the only fight that I would suggest that Usyk doesn't really want to be anywhere near is probably Moses Atoma.
I feel like with Usyk, I feel like I've got a better skill set than him, but I feel like towards the later rounds, he'll just outdo me because I've never been in that sort of fight.
Third fight, it's my friend Greedy Belly Tyson Fury.
Back to Fury.
What did you make of Usyk naming you on his hit list?
People are going to call me Nostradamus soon, aren't they? I definitely predicted that one. What do I say? Him.
Teddy Atlas says the WBA should be ashamed for even entertaining a Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven freak show, because in his words, the kickboxing king has less than 0 chance against the undisputed champ.
Well, a real danger to them as a fight, and they played out where guys got knocked out in some of those fights, but they weren't sanctioned for a title. I think what makes this a little bit different to me is that the WBA is sanctioning it as a title defense for Usyk. That makes it a little bit different. There's going to be some people who are going to say, well, that, it's not fair to some of the heavyweights out there, professional heavyweights that are not kickboxers, that are heavyweights, professional boxers, and they deserve a shot. But for a guy who's a kickboxer and who has had one professional boxing match, he's 1-0 against the guy that, who knows. But, so I can understand that, but I can't get mad at Usyk with.
Teddy Atlas admits Rico Verhoeven has been handed few advantage, but warns that none of it will matter once Usyk brings too much danger inside the ring.
What's his chances? What's Verhoeven's chances? I think slim and none, to be honest. I looked at film on him, and yeah, he's big. He's 6'6", 270. Fury was big too, but Fury was a professional boxer. This guy, as I said, he doesn't have that background. He stands straight up. He's had 76 fights. He's won 66. He's got 26 knockouts. He's not a huge puncher. His best punch is the right hand. That can be effective against the southpaw. Usyk's a southpaw. That can be the southpaw killer. I get it. It's not going to be. Usyk's too versatile, too good for him. His defense, his offense. I think it's going to come down to where Usyk, it's up to him.
With Teddy Atlas convinced that Usyk could end the fight with just one punch, this isn't a battle. It's a warning shot to the WBA for sanctioning a mismatch disguised as a legacy fight.
If he wants to work with him and he wants to carry him, I don't know that anything that there was any agreement to that. I have no idea of that. But if it's going to be up to him, because what I've seen, like I just said, Verhoeven, he gets hit standing straight up. He's not easy to miss, to be honest. He's right in front of you. And it will just be, it'll be Usyk's call, how he wants to go about. Does he want to go get rid of him, or does he want to box and, kind of enjoy the view a little bit? At the end of the day, what's different about this? It's a sanctioned heavyweight title fight, and it's going to be in Egypt at the Pyramids. And there's going to be someone in attendance with all the other ones I mentioned. You never had this kind of person attending.
Even Oleksandr Usyk's former promoter, Alex Kraskew, says he would have advised retirement over facing Rico Verhoeven, calling the fight a disgrace he'd have blocked before their split.
That would probably sound weird, but if I was there, that fight would probably not happen. Well, it's more like a joke, but on the other hand, I do understand Usyk, and I do understand this decision because there are not too many options for him. Being on the level he is, being on the raid, he's an undisputed champion, and he has the right to enjoy his career. And fighting a kickboxer, if it makes sense financial-wise, why not?
If you were still with him, this wouldn't be happening.
Definitely, because if I was still with him and he would be listening to me, he would retire after the second fight with Tyson Fury. He achieved everything possible.
Alex Kraskew, who parted ways with Usyk last year, insists the Rico Verhoeven fight shouldn't be happening and admits he'd have done everything to stop it.
I see that happening because that's the only logical outcome of what is happening now. Assuming Tyson wins, assuming Usyk wins, that fight is very logical by the end of this year, and I assume Turki Al-Sheikh, being the magician of the industry now, he's having that in mind. I have zero confirmation on that, and this is just my personal opinion, but if people are there to make money on boxing, that's one of several fights that has money in. The other one is AJ with Tyson, which also very preferable for the public and very possible to happen.
The man who once guided Usyk's career now says he'd have blocked the Verhoeven fight entirely, proving even those closest to the champion see this as a step too far.
And there will be, I mean, I think Usyk wanted to maintain more of the money as well. I think part of the reasons why they split companies, Usyk didn't want to pay him the percentage that he was getting out of the fights. And of course, the level of Usyk's purses have gotten bigger and bigger, and so will the remuneration for other people have gotten bigger and bigger. And it won't have been lost on the fighter that the scale of his purses are being reduced by X factor, that someone he thinks perhaps he could do the job himself.
Yeah.
Now, there's nothing about Usyk that, first of all, the mindset of a fighter. Is Usyk a fighter that fights for money, or is he a fighter because he fights? I think he's a fighter because he fights, and I think the sideshow is the money that he gets now, and it's part and parcel of the shtick that goes with him. So the understanding the mentality of the man, he understands the mentality of the man better than anyone else. Is there any decline in Usyk? We just saw Usyk wipe the floor with Daniel Dubois. Wipe the floor with him.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Simon Jordan notes that Usyk is someone driven by the urge to fight rather than money, and the only opponent he's actually avoiding right now is Moses Itama.
As good as he's ever been, if not better.
Yeah.
There's no decline in him. He's at the pinnacle of his powers, and so the only fight that I would suggest that Usyk doesn't really want to be anywhere near is probably Moses Itama, because that potentially has a legacy busting perspective. No one wants to see the old guard getting bashed into the next life by the new one. Boxing fans do, but not the people around the old guard. So Usyk, if he's lived the life that he's lived a life that's been committed to his sport without any distractions, besides his support of his nation in the challenge that the Ukraine nation has had as a result of the illegal invasion from the Russians. But other than that, he's lived his life completely focused on the sport with a discipline and an inherent responsibility to being a consummate professional. So he is a different animal than, say, Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury doesn't live that life that way.
Right.
Meanwhile, Moses Itama believes he has a better skill set than Usyk, but admits his lack of engagement in later rounds could be a real threat against him, claiming Usyk would outbox him down the stretch.
You must have a view of what level you're at now.
If you want my honest opinion, I think if my skill set, if you're talking about my ring IQ and what I display in the ring, I feel like I am the best in the world, but I haven't displayed the later rounds. That's all what I kind of want to get ticked off. So my next opponent or opponents this year, we're just looking at fights to kind of get me into that later round, because I feel like with Usyk, I feel like I've got a better skill set than him, but I feel like towards the later rounds, he'll just outdo me, because I've never been in that sort of fight.
Simon Jordan blasts the WBC for turning boxing into a sideshow by waving a belt at Usyk versus a kickboxer. He says the organization is cheapening its own credibility, putting Usyk's title on the line against Rico Verhoeven, a fighter who hasn't done nearly enough to earn that kind of shot.
The WBC wants to put the actual belt on the line. That's shocking. It's a complete and utter degradation of duty to the other fighters in the division.
Yeah.
At the same time as a diminishing of the value of the WBC brand. But that's their gift. That's their loss.
Right.
Other people will take
Yeah.
advantage as a result of it.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for it. I just don't like the fact that he sat on his laurels for a period of time. You know, the other belts have been tied up while he's done it.
Yeah.
He was injured, so he couldn't fight Joe Parker, and Joe Parker got himself into a terrible mess there on afterwards, isn't he? In terms of losing to Fabio Broccoli and testing positive for drugs and all kinds of things. So there's all challenges as a result of it, cause and effects. But I think that Usyk has every right to continue fighting. And if we see Usyk go into a fight, and we see a diminished version of him, then that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
But if he wants to fight on, and his psyche is the same, then I don't think it's anyone's gift.
Yeah.
After Usyk handles Verhoeven, Simon Jordan says a Fury fight is possible, but only if Tyson wants it. No demand, no negotiation, just desire.
And you heard Crashy there. If he overcomes Verhoeven, what might be next? Well, maybe further down the line, it could be a third fight with Fury.
Well, yeah, Fury will want that. I mean, the only, again, we know, Makhmudov has got 2 chances to win this fight, no chance to Slim, and Slim left town. So he's in a situation now where the only version of Tyson Fury that he gets that Makhmudov can beat is a completely washed out one that spent like 16 months out of the ring and is not prepared for this fight. Other than that, to me, it's a foregone conclusion on the weekend.
Right.
And so where Top Fury goes next, where's the money? If Fury's in pursuit of money, he doesn't need any money. He keeps on telling everyone how much money he's got, so he doesn't need the money. So I'm assuming it can't just be he's after the money of the fights. It must be he's after some sort of recognition.
Yeah.
So that must be a world title shot. And who's that against? Maybe the winner of Dubois Wardley.
Meanwhile, Tyson Fury wants nothing to do with a third fight, and he's not shy about saying it. The Gypsy King recently fired back at Usyk, accusing him of desperately begging for a trilogy, while Fury himself has zero interest in ever stepping into the ring with him again.
Final 3 from myself. I know you're obviously focused on Makhmudov, but Oleksandr Usyk, he was on Inside the Ring and he named his hit list, his next 3 fights, and you was on it. And I know you said about himself begging you for a trilogy. So, well, I guess what did you make of Usyk naming you on his hit list?
People are going to call me Nostradamus soon, aren't they?
Yeah.
I definitely predicted that one.
Yeah.
What do I say?
Yeah.
That's what I say.
What do you think of him and AJ together linking up all the videos they're posting? And
fantastic. If that's what works for them guys, then good luck to them. You know, it's everybody can work with who they want. Me and Pablo Joe's been working together out in Thailand, and that works for me. So everybody's entitled to their own.
Taking strong shots at Usyk, Tyson Fury claims he was treated unfairly in their past fights and insists he actually won them. He jokingly said he spoke with Usyk and taunted him, asking whether the judges would still give him a split decision even if he doesn't step into the ring for a third time. Fury believes he's the cash cow, and Usyk knows it well, desperate to cash in on him.
Do you know what? They may as well just give him the decision before we go in there. Whatever, kick me in the bollocks, because I'm not going to get a decision over this mother. Not at all. They're like, if I won 11 of 12 rounds, they're going to give it in by a split, and that's sad because what I've done for boxing, what I've brought to boxing, what the people have brought to boxing, it's been a sad story really. But you know, it is what it is. It's in the past, and like I said to him, we speak on over Instagram. On Messenger and stuff, and I just said, look, he said, oh, we do the third fight very soon. Obviously, I'm the cash cow. They all want to fight the Gypsy King. Of course they do. But I just said to him, are they going to give you the decision before we go in there? And he sends me some laughing faces.
Tyson makes it clear that Usyk has already made his money fighting him, and with what Fury calls an unfair decision in their last fights, he doesn't believe he should step into the ring again just to benefit Usyk's legacy, while the judges hand out unjust results.
Of course they are. But yes, it is what it is. No hard feelings. Alexander got his victories and fair play to him. But it's not about Alexander anymore. Alexander's had his paydays, so
listen. Tyson Fury does not.
If it's a fair fight with a fair result, then I fight him in his back garden in Ukraine with a full army there too. But I just don't think I'm going to get any fair play ever.
Despite that, Usyk has a number of options he can explore, starting with the winner of Dubois versus Fabio Wardley, and another name that has been tied to a potential fight next in Agit Kabayel, at a time when the WBA is being heavily criticized for putting Usyk's belt on the line against a kickboxer. The growing stance is that this fight with Rico Verhoeven could very well be Usyk's last under the WBA banner.
Agit Kabayel. There's the Wardley Dubois winner. There's Moses Hatama coming up the ranks. There are options for Usyk to get in there with. You maintain that you think he's done. So in your opinion, Usyk's not going to fight Kabayel. He's not going to fight Wardley. This is it for Usyk? That's what you think?
I'm not saying that is definitive, but it's just that's the light bulb that goes off in my head when I hear this fight. I'm not saying that that's the case, but you can make a real argument for it, and I would not be surprised at all to hear that Usyk is not going to take on top contenders after this fight, or he relinquishes his belts or retires or anything like that. Because at this point, like, why are you doing this? Why is Usyk doing this?
What the future holds for Usyk depends on the coming days, but his avoidance of Agit Kabayel has sparked strong backlash from the boxing community. Pundits claim the WBC should strip Usyk for ignoring his mandatory challenger, while he's been handed a voluntary tune-up in the form of Rico Verhoeven. Oleksandr Usyk looks to be swerving Agit Kabayel, they say, and that's just not fair.
If I'm Agit Kabayel, I'm not too happy. But yeah, it looks like that's what he wants to do, and if he wants to do it, it probably will happen.
If I'm Agit Kabayel, I am straight on the phone to the WBC and saying strip him, because he's been mandatory for how long now? Well over a year. He's been happy to wait. Usyk's been given a voluntary to take this fight. Not only that, he's been given a voluntary, but they put the flipping title on the line. And now he's saying, I want to fight the winner of Wardley Dubois. Okay, it's a unification, undisputed. I really hope that I'm picking Dubois to win. I don't want to see a trilogy fight because, goddamn, they haven't been close either times. And then to say after that, you want to fight Fury again. And you know what? The WBC will give him a pass.
Boxing journalist Ade Oladipo has deemed the situation a ridiculous embarrassment for boxing, organizations favoring Usyk by giving him whatever he wants, while a mandatory challenger like Agit Kabayel waits on the sidelines for years. He thinks handing Usyk a chance to fight a kickboxer just for a payday is beyond disgraceful, especially when a legitimate contender has been patiently earning his shot, only to be continuously overlooked.
The sanctioned bodies will give him a pass. And I don't think they should. I think if you're Agit Kabayel, if you're one of the mandatories with the WBA or IBF, you are saying, hold on a minute here. I am not waiting, because God only knows. Usyk's been fighting, what, once a year? So how many years is that going to be? Is that going to be 2 years? Is that going to be 3 years? How long could it be that I'm waiting for a crack at the world title while he's going and having a victory lap? Because he has a fight in May, probably won't fight until next year. And then is he going to have 2 fights next year or 1? So if you're Kabayel or whoever, you know, you're Frank Sanchez versus, what's that other guy's name? Richard Torres, the winner, and you're a mandatory. How long are you waiting?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Agit Kabayel, I went onto his Instagram. I shared a couple of messages with him on his Instagram because he's basically responded to that as well. Someone asked him, he's doing like a Q&A, and someone asked him about Fabio Wardley. He said, like, I tried to make that fight.
Usyk's handling of Rico has been deemed far too easy, and there remains a strong desire within the boxing community to see him fight the best opponent who truly deserves the opportunity. Experts believe Usyk is going to win, and the same goes for another fighter, Fabio Wardley, who they think will suffer a defeat to Dubois, thus establishing the growing urge for a Fabio fight with Usyk, while the Fury trilogy still hangs in between all of that.
I said I was going to go to England. I said he should come to Germany, and then someone asked him about Usyk, and he's like, look, he's never going to consider Usyk a person to duck. But Usyk clearly doesn't want to fight him. That's fine. Give me the belt. If you don't want to fight me, that's okay, but just give me the belt so I can move on, become world champion, and fight someone who does want to fight me. So I almost feel like he's given up on the idea of Oleksandr Usyk. And he should. Because if Fabio does win, and I think it's a 50-50 fight, this one, but if Fabio wins, Fabio now deserves Usyk having knocked out Parker, and if he does beat Dubois, it's going to be by knockout as well. So I almost feel like if you knock out Parker and Dubois back-to-back, you probably do deserve Usyk.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't gripe at him versus Usyk, to be honest with you. Although I think Usyk would win that fight handily, we've never seen him against Fabio Wardley. So, you know, yeah, go for it. We know Wardley. I mean, Wardley wins fights he shouldn't win all the time. Knowing him, he'd probably beat Oleksandr Usyk because every time we pick against him, he just comes good.
With criticism growing louder by the day, Moses Itama has stepped forward to blast the WBC's decision. Meanwhile, fans remain frustrated that Oleksandr Usyk keeps sidestepping a major showdown with the young heavyweight. Instead of facing a real threat like Itama, Usyk is being handed a low-risk spectacle against a kickboxer, a move that has left the boxing world questioning both the champion's intentions and the sanctioning body's credibility.
Probably not, but what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
We don't have a spilled milk.
Of course. But maybe... What's that?
I said we don't cry over spilled milk, we'll just keep it stepping.
Yeah. Do you hold out hope? Do you care about that sort of thing? Or is that not that important to you, fighting him? Ultimately, you want to be champion, you want to be king of the heavyweights. It's more about that than fighting him?
If something's not in my control, there's no point of me getting upset or angry about it. I remember my brother told me a quote, or told me something a long time ago. He said, you can't get angry over things you can control, and you can't get angry over things you can't control. And I'm not gonna get upset of either or, because if I can control it, I would, and if I can't.
Though Moses Itama calls Usyk a once-in-a-generation talent, he now accepts the fight will likely never happen. Instead of chasing a fading dream, he's shifting focus to carving his own path. What once felt like a destined clash has now become pure fantasy, leaving fans with nothing but speculation and no real hope of ever seeing these two share a ring.
What are you gonna do? I'm just gonna have to move on. Listen, like, Usyk's a once-in-a-generation fighter, and like, obviously I'd love to have the opportunity, but if I don't, what am I supposed to do? Pull him out of his grave?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just, yeah, man. It's just if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't.
Control the controllables, as they say.
Exactly.
Moses Itama has taken aim at the WBC for granting a heavyweight title shot to boxing novice Rico Verhoeven. He argues the decision stretches competitive integrity to its limits, risks gutting the belt's credibility, and fuels serious debate, even as he admits Usyk has every right to pick his own opponents. For Itama, the real issue isn't choice, it's the message this sends to every fighter who earned their shot.
Oh man, Usyk, he can do whatever he wants, man. He's earned that right. But see, I don't like to use the word fair, but I don't think it should be allowed to fight for the world title. Obviously, like I said, Usyk's earned the right to do whatever he wants, but I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's correct for Rico to be able to fight for the world title in his first fight. That's just it's a bit crazy.
A growing number of boxing professionals have condemned the WBC for approving a potential title fight between Oleksandr Usyk and kickboxing star Rico Verhoeven. Their criticism centers on one key concern: the decision dangerously blurs the line between elite-level competition and pure commercial spectacle. What once stood as a symbol of sporting merit now risks becoming entertainment-driven theater, leaving many to question the WBC's commitment to competitive integrity.
First fight back is against Rico Verhoeven. When you have Kabayel sitting there, I don't know if he should be walking around with the belt, and it definitely shouldn't be for the belt. So Mauricio Suleiman continues to self-indict on the charges of completely being corrupt, it seems, with his belt. And this is why I've said the 4 sanctioning bodies are going to die. They are going to die because they can't get out of their own way and do what's best for the sport. I have no problem with the fight. I'm excited to see if Rico can actually do something with Usyk. Would I have rather seen Usyk and Kabayel? Yeah. Would I have rather have seen Usyk and Moses Itama? Yeah. I think that this if he wanted to do a crossover fight, I mean, Usyk's talked about doing MMA. What else does he got to prove at the heavyweight division? Maybe nothing, but they should have done this for no belt.
Chris Algieri demonetizes Usyk for chasing money fights against kickboxers, which he admits does help kickboxing gain some shine, but the fact that a world title is being held hostage in the process makes the whole situation even more frustrating for those who have actually earned their chance to become champions.
Fight kickboxers and MMA guys and badminton players, whatever you want. I don't care. If you want to go do that and make a ton of money, I got no problem with that. Just don't hold the belts hostage, because there are a lot of other top contenders all over the world that I would love see fight for these belts, and I would like these other guys to all, you know, a bunch of them to become champions. You know, when you have a unified champion, you have an undisputed. You know, all those guys are sitting there chomping at the bit for their opportunity, but there's not many opportunities to become a world champion. So, yeah, it's funny. The more I think about this, I'm like, man, you know, I loved it because of kickboxing getting a shine, and people are going to be more aware of kickboxing now. But I think you're right. I don't think fans really care.
And the most hilarious part comes with the fact that boxing pundits are giving 0 chances to Rico Verhoeven. Chris believes Usyk has already taken away half of Rico's weapons simply by being a professional boxer rather than a kickboxer. No matter what size advantages Rico might have, Chris argues he doesn't deserve a chance to beat Usyk, while Usyk has everything in his arsenal to get the job done, and not too very easily.
Does Rico Verhoeven have any shot to beat Oleksandr Usyk in this fight?
No. If it was Anthony Joshua, I would be like, yeah, maybe. Usyk, no. He doesn't get hit. And you're taking away some of his main weapons. It's kickboxing. You're taking away half of his weapons. So, and he's not a big puncher. Yes, he's a big guy. He's a very big guy. He's tall, he's big, he's heavy. He's gonna have the size advantage for sure on Usyk. He's super tough and scrappy and tricky, all of that. But it's Oleksandr Usyk. If it was anybody else, I would be like, yeah, you know, there's a shot. It's heavyweights. Anything can happen. One punch is one punch in the heavyweight division, but it's Usyk.
So, while Rico Verhoeven chases a legacy moment, the boxing world watches a mismatch in the making, and Usyk prepares to remind everyone why he's the king. Will this fight actually be effective, or will the backlash force the WBC to blink? Hit that like, drop a comment with your prediction, and subscribe for more boxing truth bombs.